Live events, experiential marketing, and in-person engagement are not just alternatives to AI-driven content. They are essential counterbalances that give your brand a human voice in a digital world. Welcome to Production Value Matters, the Business Events Podcast, and I'm your host, Matthew Byrne, CSEP. Today, we're going to tackle a topic that's on the minds of a lot of marketing event professionals, a lot of sales leadership, and brand strategists. In a landscape dominated by AI-generated content, how do businesses break through the noise and build authentic connections with their audiences? Spoiler alert, the answer lies in real-world experiences, live events, trade shows, face-to-face meetings, and experiential marketing. They're becoming an antidote to this AI saturation, offering businesses a chance to connect in a way that AI automation simply can't. Let's dive in. First, if you're in marketing, you probably noticed that AI has taken over content creation. It certainly hasn't replaced content creators, but a lot of content creators are still leveraging AI tools to be more efficient with their content creation. I think that creates an environment where the audience looks at AI-generated content, even if it is, managed by a human being, and starts to really perceive, there's just a lot of it out there, and it doesn't feel very genuine. According to some recent reports, over 70% of marketing professionals use AI tools daily, with many relying on AI to generate blog posts, emails, and even video scripts. AI's efficiency is undeniable. It saves a lot of time, optimizes performance, and even personalizes content at scale. But here's the challenge. Everyone is using AI. With AI churning out millions of articles, emails, social media posts every day, audiences are drowning in generic machine-written content. As a result, engagement rates are plateauing, and the fight for attention is fiercer than ever. Marketers are realizing that while AI is a great automation, it lacks the emotional depth and trust building that human interactions provide. So, where do we go from here? How do brands differentiate themselves? The answer is really simple: by creating experiences, not just content. So let's talk about live experiences, trade shows, conferences, networking events, and experiential marketing activations. These are not just industry traditions, they're becoming one of the most strategic and valuable channels in marketing for B2C and B2B, and a necessity in a world with oversaturated digital noise. So here's why. Authenticity and trust. Look, a handshake, a live conversation, a shared moment at an event builds trust faster than 100 AI-generated emails. People want to do business with people, not just brands. And the only way that you're going to get those people to really connect is with live experiences. There's engagement that sticks. Studies show that 80% of event attendees remember brands they interacted with in person better than those they engage with online. There's a depth over volume. Look, AI can mass produce content, but nothing replaces the deep, high-value conversations that happen in live events. This is especially critical in B2B, where buying decisions are driven by relationships and not just content. And certainly building memorable moments. People may forget a well-written AI-generated blog. They'll read it, they'll consume it, maybe they'll get some insight out of it. But they won't forget a really dynamic, say, keynote, a hands-on demo, or a conversation over coffee at a conference. It's no surprise that despite the rise of AI, companies are increasing their investment in live marketing. Recently, a statistic came out: over 86% of businesses plan to expand their in-person events in 2025 and beyond. Experiential marketing isn't just about trade shows and corporate conferences. It's about creating memorable brand experiences that connect emotionally with audiences. Some of the world's biggest brands are blending AI with in-person activations to create unique high-impact campaigns, but it's still about getting somebody in a room or in a place at a time to create that meaningful connection. So let's take Coca-Cola's Create Real Magic campaign. They used AI to let fans generate custom artwork featuring the iconic Coca-Cola imagery. But instead of just stopping at a digital engagement, they invited 30 winners to their headquarters for an exclusive real world creative experience. This blended AI powered content and in person engagement, and that made that campaign unforgettable. Or consider Salesforce's Dreamforce conference. Yes, the Salesforce uses AI driven insights to personalize outreach, but they also host one of the biggest live business events of the year. Why? Because nothing replaces the power of that human interaction. The biggest deals that they will ever sign will come out of that live experience. It's not because they had the perfect AI driven digital ad or email or efficient lead scoring. It was because they were able to bring their prospects, their clients, their teams together in a live experience to build that trust and to build a lot of brand equity with their market. Even B2B brands like HubSpot recognize this. While they use AI generated content to engage customers year round, their annual inbound conference brings their community together in person, building deep relationships that no AI driven content campaign ever could achieve. So, if you're a business leader, marketer, sales professional, how do you incorporate live experiences into that strategy? Here are a few key takeaways. So, look, use AI to scale, but humans to connect. Let the AI help generate some of that content, but always follow up with real world engagements. And that's inviting them to your meetings and your networking events or live experiences where they get to experience your team, your brand, and your differentiation. Prioritize a flagship event. If you can't attend every conference, focus on one or two, like in the sense that if you can't produce your own content or conference, then getting out there and participating in industry related marketplaces or trade shows or conventions is critically important. Focus on one or two major events where you can create high impact and face-to-face engagements. Think beyond the trade show booth, host a VIP dinner, an interactive workshop, or a product showcase that creates a real value for the attendees. Get some hands-on time with those potential clients and customers, and give them hands-on time with your products and or services. Leverage live streaming and hybrid experiences. Look, if your audience can't be there in person, blend AI with some live experience by offering the hybrid event options. Again, you can use AI to make that process much more effective and efficient. The way that we always put it is, look, your live event is a content machine. And so use that live event to leverage content and then use AI to leverage how that reaches people, not creating, a video via AI. And that's our marketing plan. I think it's going to fall short. And then certainly make it personal. Look, although AI can be used to analyze customer data and then invite the right people to the right experiences, making a personal connection with somebody live in person by actually shaking their hand is critically important. So, personal invitations to exclusive events drive higher engagement than any mass marketing campaign, which would be generated by AI. But that personal connection really has to come out of that live experience with that person. As AI generated content becomes more and more common, the brands that will win aren't the ones that produce the most content. They're the ones that create the most meaningful connections. Live events, experiential marketing, and in person engagement are not just alternatives to AI driven content, they are essential counterbalances that give your brand a human voice in a digital world. People crave real connections and businesses that invest in authentic experiences. And those will be the ones that stand out, build loyalty, and drive long-term success. So, if you're looking to differentiate your brand in a sea of AI-generated sameness, don't just publish, engage. Don't just automate, connect. And don't just market, experience. That's all for today's episode on Production Value Matters, the Business Events Podcast. If you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe, share, and let us know what's the most impactful live event or experience you've attended. Hit us up on social media. You can find us on LinkedIn. And of course, you can always access more deep dive content like this at productionvaluematters.com. And let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Production Value Matters, the Business Events Podcast, is brought to you by Byrne Production Services. To learn more about Byrne Production Services and how we can achieve your business goals with meaningful event designs and elevated production value, head over to byrneproductionservices.com. For tailored AV consulting, check out theavadvisor.com, where you can book a free 15-minute consultation. Also, be sure to search for Production Value Matters, the Business Events Podcast, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Thanks for listening.